All right, so again, I don't know how much was lost, but basically 50 to 75% of the treads on this Farscape are ready to give way. They've expanded, they're rusting out. You've got about 25% of these that are going to fail under the inspection and become emergencies. 25% failure rate on the cement, 25% failure rate on the paint job. We've got some undermining here of this block through the water. Otherwise, there might be some minor shifting through freeze and thaw, so that needs to be addressed. The structural, it looks okay, but again, silicone shutting, there may be, I can't see it, but if, at worst, it'll be a 25% structural. Otherwise, this Farscape is painted and just needs the treads is the major deficiency on this Farscape. All right, we're here at Newport House. It's a brand new Farscape welded, but it's all welded and it's already starting to snap right there on these treads. So there's several treads here that under a hammer blow are going to just drop already. Very poorly welded, single weld connection. About 25% of this Farscape is fully painted, so only spot painting needed. These rails are in question. The welding is in question. Alright, the superstructure is just a tubular kind of thing. I don't know if this is going to be flying okay, but it is what it is. And but the treads themselves, the welds, are showing signs that they need reinforcement weldings, or they should be through bolted. Otherwise, these welds are all very bad. The water's worked its way back there and it's doing its magic, making me money. There's an excessive amount of treads here. I don't know if that's an issue for anybody, but again, the railings, this Farscape looks like it's about 15 to 20 years old, but the treads on all this Farscape, I'd say at least 25% of them are ready to snap and drop. The others just are on their way, so reinforcement of all treads is pretty much going to be the main focus here. I don't see any structural issues. It's an all welded construction Farscape here, but between the treads, the tubes have to be discussed. I don't know if the engineers have done anything for the tubes, whether or not there needs, a corner brace there that they're talking about. The railing is a question, whether or not they're going to accept the railings as is. Otherwise, there's fall and pass-through issues. And as far as cement issues, we got standard pads on the ground. They look okay. Cantilevered, very unique system. I've never seen that with the eye bolt there that ties back into this corner, suspended over the whole thing. There's a little bit excess space here. Along the wall, it's cracking away, so that's all silicone shielded shut. You get a 25, no more than 50% failure rate on the paint, meaning a lot of spot painting, but because of the color of the job, you can see a lot more evidence of rusting because it's a beige building. The treads, I don't see any issues with the treads. Again, they're all welded treads, but I would get siliconing on the top because they are feeding water. That seems to be a standard thing. Everybody welds the hell out of everything, but they never silicone the top, so the water's making its way in. The grading is built the way that it should be built. We have some minor cement issues to the wall, but nothing that's structural in nature, more cosmetic than anything else. I don't see any structural on this job. Again, if I can get all these treads to be properly encapsulated, we're not going to have so many problems. A lot of spot rust throughout the whole thing. Now you're reaching at least 50% of the Farscape is spot rusted, but even a spot paint job will make this thing pass. I see no evidence from below that any of the treads are ready to give in any way, but the tearing at all levels is showing that the water is making its way. Structure on the legs to this thing, even the cement on the ground, nothing is showing any point that it's moving. So this Farscape, with some spot painting and depending on what the engineering report is going to say, should pass inspection, but spot painting is probably one of the keys to making sure that this thing passes, because it's touching onto the 50. Not hitting the 50 yet, but close enough to call it a day. Okay, we're up on the platform at the top, and again, one of the basics is that you have nails popping due to freeze and thaw. This whole support system there, it is all lag bolted in with like 3/8 bolts, so it needs to be anchored in with exact, with epoxy bolts, several of them. Since this building is probably old inside, we're not going to deal with anything through bolt wise. We're going to epoxy, and you have to at least triple the epoxies to guarantee that they're going to take, and only in the spring when the weather allows them to cure properly. But again, big nails popping up. A lot of the wood is splitting. This left, center, and right, the entire stringers are split. So whether or not that's acceptable, but they look like they're split, and from the nails, from freeze and thaw, have split. There is the same thing occurring on the rest of the fire escape going down, nails popping. You've got some posts left and right, and again, corners that things are making. Again, these are all splitting to a certain degree. So that has to be discussed, but if the engineer is willing to sign off on it for another 5 years, but most likely this thing's going to be needing some repair. Again, these left, right, and center are also splitting on this entire. The cement is all pretty good. There's nothing showing that any animals are eating this thing. The fire escape looks like it does stay wet to a certain degree, so I again recommend that you put on this thing those nose grips that basically keep people from slipping, because it does get wet and it does freeze up, as evident today, and today's a mild day, but it still stays frozen. It is in the shade to a certain degree, and those are the only things I found. The supports up there do need to be through bolted. The rest of the fire escape is about 10 years old, and it's a wood structure. Okay, the Pratfield press box number 2. It looks like some animals, or just standard rot, making its way on this thing, but trying to see if any other areas show that kind of eating, especially on the posts. Can't see it, but again, silicone's shutting a lot of these connections. Might buy some time. Tops are starting to show a little wear and tear on this. Can't find anything else that's really evidence, but let's see what the report says in regards to this. And all the cement looks good, steel looks good, looks like nothing's rotting out, but again, further investigation is required. How it ties into the ground. This could be a way that they get in. Again, as soon as you get the ability of the animal to bypass the cement, they'll start crawling up and eating the steel. But as far as I can see, I can't, nothing, maybe that base a little bit there, but really nothing evident on this particular one. So this is a wood one, and we'll base it on the report that comes from this one. This box, fire escape number 1. I don't trust those headers too well on this staircase. Standard stuff. A couple of nails raising here and there. It's an all wood construction. Areas for water to accumulate. You need to see what this system is. Couple legs to the ground. Some animals have started to eat this thing, so definitely an investigation into what animals are eating. This, make sure that fire escape is sound and sturdy. Check the report. The snow does accumulate and probably does push to a certain degree. As you can see, snow here, and again, very soft. Looks like definitely some animals are eating. Carpenter ants. Yep. So this is an indication that there's other things going on in this fire escape. So again, you need to pounce and pound on this baby. Some separation of things. Legs to the ground with some cross bracing. I would definitely pick on this thing. Find out if the animals have worked their way up, and I think they definitely have. There's bleachers here. Looks like brand new bleachers. Bring this into play, whether or not these need to be inspected or not. And structure-wise, they got hangers up there. So let's see if, but definitely some evidence that animals are eating on this. And this staircase needs to see how they're properly tied in up there. See if there's anything that has rotted. And what is that system? Whether that comes from inside the building and then comes out, and that's okay. Looks like it's a tripled up. Could be K. Could be okay there too. Looks like some cantilevering happening there. But definitely some animals have eaten. Looks like this is all steel. Steel. And now we're going to number 2.